Hi guys, it's Mrs. Galvin again. We had to cut our last video kind of short for chapter 15, so I'm here to read the last part of this chapter. Sorry again for the interruption. Sometimes it's hard to keep him occupied until I'm done. But real quick, in case you waited a while to watch the second part, we left off where his punishment, so Harry and Hermione's punishment had been to go into the Forbidden Forest. He is accompanied by Hagrid's dog Fang, Malfoy, and Neville, as they're all trying to. They've all received detention, and their punishment was to go into the Forbidden Forest to help Hagrid figure out where this unicorn is. There's a unicorn that has been bleeding, possibly injured or dead, and it's their job to go in and figure out where this unicorn is, possibly save it. We were almost to the end of this chapter, and Harry and Malfoy actually found the unicorn, which was dead. But what was very interesting in this part was that they found this hooded figure that was kind of slithering around and started drinking the blood of the unicorn. And right where I stopped it, we had seen that Harry was in some kind of intense pain. But then something was coming up to this hooded figure, maybe to protect Harry. So we're going to pick up right where we left off. And I'm hoping that we can finish this chapter with no interruptions this time. So again, we're on chapter 15, The Forbidden Forest, picking up right where we left off in the last video. Malfoy let out a terrible scream and bolted. So did Fang. The hooded figure raised its head and looked right at Harry. Unicorn blood was dribbling down its front. It got to its feet and came swiftly toward Harry. He couldn't move for fear. Then a pain like he'd never felt before pierced his head. It was as though the scar was on fire. Half blinded, he staggered backward. He heard hooves behind him galloping, and something jumped clean over Harry, charging at the figure. The pain in Harry's head was so bad he fell to his knees. It took a minute or two to pass. When he looked up, the figure had gone. A centaur was standing over him. Not Ronan or Bane, this one looked younger. He had white blonde hair and a palomino body. "Are you all right?" said the centaur, pulling Harry to his feet. "Yes, thank you. What was that?" The centaur didn't answer. He had astonishingly blue eyes like pale sapphires. He looked carefully at Harry, his eyes lingering on the scar that stood out livid on Harry's forehead. "You are the Potter boy," he said. "You had better get back to Hagrid. The forest is not safe at this time, especially for you. Can you ride? It will be quicker this way. My name is Friends," he added. He lowered himself onto his front legs so that Harry could clamber back onto his back. There was suddenly a sound of more galloping from the other side of the clearing.
Mom, it broke.
Okay, we'll have brother fix it.
No, he didn't want to ruin it.
There was suddenly a sound of more galloping from the other side of the clearing. Ronan and Bane came bursting through the trees, their flanks heaving and sweating. "Friends," Bane thundered, "what are you doing? You have a human on your back. Have you no shame? Are you a common mule?" "Do you realize who this is?" said Friends. "This is the Potter boy. The quicker he leaves this forest, the better." "What have you been telling him?" growled Bane. "Remember, Friends, we are sworn not to set ourselves against the heavens. Have we not read what is to come in the movements of the planets?" Ronan pawed the ground nervously. "I'm sure Friends thought he was acting for the best," he said in his gloomy voice. Bane kicked his back legs in anger. "For the best? What is that to do with us? Centaurs are concerned with what has been foretold. It is not our business to run around like donkeys after stray humans in our forest." Friend suddenly reared on his hind legs in anger so that Harry had to grab on his shoulders to stay on. "Did you not see that unicorn? Do you not understand why it was killed? Or have the planets not let you in on that secret? I set myself against what is lurking in this forest, Bane. Yes, with humans alongside me, if I must." And Friends whisked around, with Harry clutching on as best as he could. They plunged off into the trees, leaving Ronan and Bane behind them. Harry didn't have a clue what was going on. "Why was Bane so angry?" he asked. "What was that thing you saved me from, anyway?" Friends, slowed to a walk, warned Harry to keep his head bowed in case of low-hanging branches, but he did not answer Harry's questions. They made their way through the trees in silence for so long that Harry thought Friends didn't want to talk to him anymore. They were passing through a particularly dense patch of trees, however, when Friends suddenly stopped. "Harry Potter, do you know what unicorn blood is used for?" "No," said Harry, startled by the odd question. "We've only used the horn and tail hair in potions." "That is because it is a monstrous thing to slay a unicorn. Only one who has nothing to lose and everything to gain would commit such a crime. The blood of a unicorn will keep you alive even if you are an inch from death, but at a terrible price. You have slain something pure and defenseless to save yourself, and you will have but a half-life, a cursed life, from the moment the blood touches your lips." Harry stared at the back of Friend's head, which was dappled silver in the moonlight. But who would be that desperate, he wondered aloud. If you're going to be cursed forever, death's better, isn't it? It is, Friends agreed. Unless all you need is to stay alive long enough to drink something else. Something that will bring you back to full strength and power. Something that will mean you can never die. Mr. Potter, do you know what is hidden in the school at this very moment? The Sorcerer's Stone, of course. The elixir of life, but I don't understand who... Can you think of nobody who has waited many years to return to power? Who has clung to life, awaiting their chance? It was as though an iron fist had clenched suddenly around Harry's heart. Over the rustling of trees, he seemed to hear once more what Hagrid had told him on the night they had met. Some say he died. Codswallop, in my opinion. Don't know if he had enough human left in him to die. Do you mean, Harry crowed, that was Harry, are you all right? Hermione was running toward them down the path, and Hagrid puffing along behind her. I'm fine, said Harry. The unicorn is dead, Hagrid. It's in that clearing back there. This is where I leave you, Friends murmured, as Hagrid hurried off to examine the unicorn. You are safe now. Harry slid off of his back. Good luck, Harry Potter. The planets have been read wrongly before now, even by my centaurs. I hope this is one of those times. He turned and cantered back into the depths of the forest, leaving Harry shivering behind him. Ron had fallen asleep in the dark common room, waiting for them to return. He shouted something about Quidditch fouls when Harry roughly shook him awake. In a matter of seconds, though, he was wide-eyed as Harry began to tell him and Hermione what had happened in the forest. Harry couldn't sit down. He paced up and down in front of the fire. He was still shaking. Snape wants the stone for Voldemort, and Voldemort's waiting in the forest, and all this time we thought Snape just wanted to get rich. Stop saying the name, said Ron in a terrified whisper, as if he thought Voldemort could hear them. Harry wasn't listening. Firenze saved me, but he shouldn't have done so. Bane was furious. He was talking about interfering with what the planets say is going to happen. They must show that Voldemort's coming back. Bane thinks Firenze should have let Voldemort kill me. I suppose that's written in the stars as well. Will you stop saying the name? Ron hissed. All I've got to do is wait for Snape to steal the stone, Harry went on feverishly. Then Voldemort will be able to come and finish me off. Well, I suppose Bane will be happy. Hermione looked very frightened, but she had a word of comfort. Harry, everyone says Dumbledore's the only one you know who was ever afraid of. With Dumbledore around, you know who won't touch you. Anyway, who says the centaurs are right? It sounds like fortune-telling to me, and Professor McGonagall says that's a very imprecise branch of magic. The sky had turned light before they stopped talking. They went to bed exhausted, their throats sore. But the night surprises weren't over. When Harry pulled back his sheets, he found his invisibility cloak, folded neatly under them. There was a note pinned to it, just in case. Okay, so that was the last part of the chapter. So we really only have 2 more chapters to go at this point. We have found some really interesting information in this chapter. Harry now believes that Voldemort is the one that is drinking from the unicorn. He believes that he was the hooded figure that he saw there. And they are now convinced that Snape is helping Voldemort to retrieve the Sorcerer's Stone in some way. The Sorcerer's Stone would more than likely bring Voldemort back to power. And it sounds like Harry does believe what Hagrid had said in the very beginning, that they don't think that Voldemort died. They think that he was maybe stripped of his power and went into hiding. So hopefully you enjoyed this last chapter and you're excited to see, to read the last 2 chapters in the story. And we can hopefully wrap up this whole mystery about the Sorcerer's Stone, if that was really Voldemort in the forest, and what's going on with all of their crazy assumptions and everything that they've been kind of researching all throughout the book. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, sorry for that last interruption in the video, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.